Hey, hey, it's your girl, LaTonia Monroe Naylor, the Chief Business Educator, and I'm here to talk about 5 things you should never do when writing grants. Now, this is part 3 of the live stream series on my Tea and Talk Tuesdays with LaTonia. Yes, I do have some tea today, y'all. Um, and it is late, but guess what? It's Tuesday still, so I had to get it in. And so I had a long day, went to Boston, was able to be there to help chaperone with our youth group out there. Great, great day. Lots of things, fun things that we did today. And I am ready to go to bed, but I'm trying to keep it together, y'all, because I'm telling you to create strategies and I'm telling you to have a plan and stick to it. So this is part of my plan and I got to stick to it. So, number 1, when we're talking about things that you should never do when grant writing is applying just because. Just because what? Is it because you want the grant? Is it because you need the grant? Is it because you got a program that you want to do something to change the world in some kind of way and you need funding for it? Is it because you want to expand your business or capacity? What is the reason? You have to give a reason why you need funding because applying just because is not a reason. You got to give somebody something that feels like it is a reason for them to want to invest in what you do. And in spite of what people believe, grants are still an investment. People want a return on their investment. It just looks very different as far as what that return looks like for somebody who is giving you a grant. Okay. Number two is that you want to submit an application, but don't ever want to submit an application and you didn't read the actual RFP, RFR, or whatever that request for funding acronym is because they differ depending on what you're applying for and who you're applying to. But the reality is that you never want to submit an application and you haven't read the details. It could be something as simple as a certain font size or double space versus single space or a margin size or specific thing that they want you to talk about what you are seeking funding for or a certain amount of money that you can only ask for based on your budget. And you do not want to be in a position where you miss an opportunity to be funded through an application, and it's because you just didn't read the details. You could have a great program, you could have a great demographic strategy, all of those things, and a great story, and somebody might actually want to fund it, but because you didn't follow the rules, because you didn't follow the guidelines that they requested, you don't get the funding. Been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. Guess what? At the end of the day, you have to follow the rules, and you're not going to know. And I know a lot of people like they hate rules. Guess what? You can hate rules all you want, but if there's certain guidelines that you're supposed to follow in order to get funding and you don't follow it, you will not get the funding. Okay? So before I get to number 3, I just want to throw in a quick commercial, and that commercial is don't forget to purchase my book, Mission Rich and Profit Powered. A guide to transforming your passion into a fully funded business. Why is this so important? This is so important because if you do not read the book, then you won't understand what I'm talking about. Very simple. It helps you to get a deeper understanding of what it is that I'm teaching, the strategies that I teach, and all of those good things so that you can employ them more effectively. It is available on Amazon. It is also available if you would like a signed copy. Go to the website directly, missionrichandprofitpower.com. Got it? Good. All right. Number 3, submit an application without a plan. Never submit an application and you do not have a plan. Okay? They can tell if you don't have a plan. They can tell if you just took AI and just put it and added it to your application. Because somebody who really knows what it takes to do a certain project is going to know that whatever you submitted really doesn't answer the question as to how you're going to do that. Now, I often tell people I am not anti AI, right? Definitely use AI to help expedite the process and the length of time that it takes for you to submit an application. However, You should never depend on it to do all your work because at the end of the day, if you don't have a plan, if you don't know what you want to do with the funding, if you don't have a realistic response as to how you're going to address the need or whatever it is that that application is saying that you're going to do, then you are not going to get funding. You are wasting your time. And I always say to you, time is money and money is time. So if you sit up there and you are wasting time, you are wasting money. And we don't have the opportunity to do that if we want to grow our business. That's just the way it is. Number 4, submit an application and you haven't done your research. This is just as bad as submit an application you haven't fully read the application. If you haven't read the application, you're not going to know the details. If you submit an application and you haven't done research, you're going to talk amiss. You're going to talk about things and you're going to sound like you are in a vacuum and in a bubble or in a fishbowl and you don't have any context as to what it is that you're planning to do or how is it going to be effective. And again, people who are experts in the field, people who are reviewing, who want to make a decision as to whether or not they should give you money, are going to know if you've done your research. They're going to know that you don't know what you're talking about if you have not done your research. Okay? So this is just reality. Do your research, know what you're talking about. Don't use old jargon, don't use old context of things. It's very important that you take on professional development as a real chore because if you are somebody who thinks you know everything, you got it and gone, and 5, 6, 7 years roll by, and you have not been in a professional development session, haven't went to a training, it's not always necessary that you're going to go to the training because you're going to change what you do. Sometimes it's going to the training to affirm that you know what you know. And then other times it's going to learn tricks of how to expedite your processes, tools that you can take on that can help make things more efficient so you're not overcharging people for stuff. Sometimes we charge people for a certain amount for our business or our services or our programs to be administered because we're not aware that there are other ways that can help us to streamline things and cut the cost. So rather than me asking a funder for $50,000 to do a project that I say costs $50,000, it might only cost 25,000 if I understood some tools. And the good thing about it is if I can explain how I can streamline things and do it more cost effectively, that lets the funder know I'm doing my due diligence. I'm putting in the research. I know how to ensure that we are doing things more cost effectively and expanding the dollar. In other words, I'm going to be a good steward of your money because I'm a good steward of what I do. Now, it's not easy, especially when you bring on a team, but it's something that is absolutely necessary. The more efficient and effective you are with excellence, you are going to continue to get funding. Last but not least, submit an application. Got a little tongue tied. Submit an application and you're not qualified. Sometimes grants require certain things. They might say you need to be in business for a certain amount of time. They might say you need to have a certain size budget. They might say you need to have certain certifications or training or things like that. They might even say that there's a certain grant you should have before you apply for the grant that you're now seeking. And whatever it is, they may even ask you for certain relationships, partnerships, collaborations. And if you don't have those things and you apply, you are not getting the money. Okay? Every now and again, and this is the thing, right? People will listen to these and they'll go, "Oh, I know I should never do that, but I'm going to do it anyways because so and so did it and they got funding." Guess what? So and so you and so and so are not the same people. Sometimes people have political ties and connections that allow them to kind of get through the loopholes, navigate the loopholes, or there may be some things that they have that they're just not telling you that you don't know about. So at the end of the day, don't look at people and compare yourself to people. Compare yourself to you. All right? Compare yourself to you because you want to do your work with excellence, with empathy, and with authenticity. And when you do that, you're going to draw people in. You're going to attract funding. You are going to move from a place of being mission rich and profit poor to a place of being mission rich and profit powered. Okay? So, Remember those things that you should never do. Don't apply just because. Don't submit an application you haven't read. Don't submit an application without a plan. And definitely don't submit an application when you haven't done the research. And last but not least, do not submit an application if you're not qualified. You're wasting time and you're wasting money. You're literally taking money and throw it out the window when you submit an application and you have not made sure that you follow all of these things that I just mentioned. So with that, we are done with part 3. Next week is part 4. I believe we'll be wrapping it up at part 5. And I want you to remember the most important thing, which is that if you are listening to these tips, you are listening to this information, and you are like, LaTonia, I want to know, how do I do this? Then you have the opportunity to join the Mission Rich Academy. We are accepting applications right now. Reach out for more information because your situation is going to be different. And guess what? The academy is just not for everybody. It's really for folks who are ready to get the job done, ready to put in the work, ready to see results, ready to grow their business, ready to grow their nonprofit or ministry, and want to know that they're going to do it for sustainable change, long term and sustainable change. Okay. And so if you decide that you want to work with me, here are the ways that you can contact me. All right. I look forward to hearing from you because I know that if you are mission rich, you do not want to be profit poor. You want to be profit power. So I look forward to seeing y'all. Have a blessed night. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, get some sleep. I've been with middle schoolers and high schoolers all day, and I want to lay down and catch up. All right, y'all. So y'all have a good night and God bless you.